After using the Keenz 7S Stroller Wagon for a few months, would I still consider purchasing it, or would I rather spend that $600 on something else? In this video, I'll share with you my thoughts on what I liked and what I didn't like about the Keenz 7S wagon. Okay, so I took so long in really getting to know the 7S that Keenz actually released the 7S 2.0 before I make this video. From what I can tell though, the changes aren't huge, but there have been some updates that address some of the things I didn't like about the original, which I'll point out a bit later in the video when I go over it. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the price. The Keenz 7S 2.0 retails for $599.99. While it's not the most expensive stroller wagon in the market, there are more affordable options out there. One of my favorite things about the Keenz 7S is how easy it is to fold and unfold. To unfold, unbuckle this latch and simply pull the section apart, and then to fold back up, pull this tab right here in the center, and you're done. I haven't used too many stroller wagons, but compared to my Even Flow Pivot Explorer, this is a cakewalk. I know many parents complain that the 7S is a bit bulky when folded, making it hard to store. While I agree that it is bulky, I'm not sure much can be done since most stroller wagons in the market are fairly bulky even when collapsed. However, the complaints do hold merit, as when collapsed, it might not fit into trunks of regular sedans. I don't have trouble fitting the Keenz into my Toyota Sienna, but I can't imagine trying to fit this into something like a Honda Accord trunk. Luckily in my family we don't run into trunk issues, as my wife drives a Subaru Outback, so she has good trunk space as well. So if you do have a smaller trunk, keep this in mind before purchasing. Keenz does advertise the material as lightweight durable aluminum. While I do think it's durable, at 33 pounds for a stroller wagon, it's not horrible, but I wouldn't consider it light by any means. If it was the size of a dumbbell, sure, it wouldn't be as bad as the weight is distributed evenly, but at the size it is, it's definitely not something I look forward to lifting in and out of the car. I guess that's the downside of having a larger car, is that generally you do have to lift things higher to fit into the trunk. Probably one of the most important things besides the price point is the maneuverability of the stroller wagon, as the point of it is to push or pull our children along. The adjustable handlebar design makes it so that the chances are you'll find a grip that's comfortable for you. This means that if you're taller, you can adjust the handlebar to tilt a bit higher, while if you're shorter, you can put the bars lower. The vegan leather is very comfortable, and personally I do have a soft spot for leather, so I found the vegan leather to be a nice touch compared to the foam I've seen on some of the other handlebars. When it comes to the actual maneuverability, this is where I found it to be a bit lacking. Going in a straight line, I didn't have any issues pushing it, but I found turns or even adjustments to make the stroller wagon go left or right required a bit more effort. The first time I used the Keenz 7S was at the Houston Zoo, where we spent about 2 hours. Afterwards, I noticed that both my forearms felt slightly tired. I found this odd, as I spent longer trips at the zoo before with other strollers and stroller wagons without any issues. I suppose if this was my only stroller wagon, then my forearms would probably get used to this, but I do switch out depending on what I need from the stroller wagon, so it's quite noticeable for me. This really is a shame, as the wagon handles small bumps like driveways really well without much effort, which is something that's important in my scenario for taking my children and dogs on walks around the neighborhood. They call the wheels all-terrain, and I would probably agree, as I haven't noticed myself getting stuck on anything or having any difficulty pushing over something like grass or gravel. The Keenz has both wheel locks and a brake system. The smaller wheels have individual locks to keep the wheels from moving, while the larger wheels have this red brake pedal between them. It's extremely easy to access while using. I do have to warn that you have to make sure that you completely engage the brake pedal, or there's a chance the Keenz will keep rolling. While we're on the topic of wheels, they do have spring suspension, so the ride is smoother for the little ones. This is even confirmed by my 4-year-old son. He voluntarily told me that the Keenz had a smoother ride than our Even Flow Pivot, although he told us that he liked the Even Flow better because it had a bumpier ride. The inside of the wagon is just a large open area, so this can be both a pro and a con. If your child gets tired and wants to sleep, then it's much easier for them to just lay down across it. On the other hand, if you have 2 children, then they have nowhere to put their legs. I don't know about your children, but mine's definitely fight about leg room. The option is either sit with the legs crossed or have them kind of stagger with the legs stretched out. The stagger method only works if you're not using the safety belt. I find that most of our outings, a safety belt isn't an issue, as it's mostly just walking around the neighborhood and my children don't try to stand or anything crazy. Although both options means your children's shoes are touching everywhere, meaning you'll probably need to clean the inside of the wagon a lot more often. Being in Texas, having a canopy is very important, and I really like how easy the included canopy is installed. There are 4 rods that can be extended to hold the canopy. You even have the option to put down the side to block out even more sun. The only thing with the Canopy installed is that it's a bit harder to get your children in and out of the wagon. While we're on the topic of getting in and out, the side of the Keenz 7S is a bit higher compared to some of the other stroller wagons in the market, so younger children will have a harder time getting in and out by themselves. One big thing going for the Keenz 7S is that there's plenty of storage space. You have a large storage area in the front as well as 3 pockets in the back. The 7S 2.0 even has 2 additional side storage, so you can easily bring everything you need with you. On the original 7S, besides the maneuverability, my biggest complaint was a lack of a snack tray or cup holders for the children. If my children were eating snacks on a walk or trip, then the Keenz would automatically not be chosen because it made it harder and messier. Luckily, it seems the Keenz listened to the feedback, and the 2.0 version now includes a snack tray with cup holders. This is a nice add, but based off of the pictures, the cup holders might not be that great. The picture shows it being used with these smaller to-go size cups, but I'm sure most parents will be giving their children water bottles to keep spills to a minimum. And generally water bottles are larger, especially if you're using Owala water bottles. Also, I have no idea why they don't sell the tray as a standalone accessory. From what I can tell, it seems that both the 7S and the 7S 2.0 are compatible with it. They do sell the cup and phone holder that's included with the 2.0 separately, but not the snack tray. Okay, so this brings us to the main question. Is the Keenz 7S or 7S 2.0 worth the $600 price tag? There are some great features like the storage and the full-size canopy, but I don't know if it's worth the premium given that you can find an even full Pivot Explorer on sale under $250 quite often. And this past Black Friday, it was on sale for $175, making it $425 cheaper. I do have a full in-depth review of the even full Pivot if you're still weighing all your options on picking a stroller wagon. What do you think? Is the Keenz worth the premium price, or do you prefer going with something a bit more affordable? And until next time, remember every child is unique. Embrace their journey with gentle guidance.